I was out in the garden the other day topping some onions and just checking over the raised beds in general, and I found that on my yellow zucchini some of them looked like they had potentially blossom end rot, and I went in and did some research and consulted some friends, and it looks like it could be blossom end rot, or it could also just be a lack of pollination. It hadn't been pollinated. Looking into it, if it is blossom end rot, generally due to a lack of calcium, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's not enough calcium in the soil, just that there's not enough calcium in your plant. Often that is due to inconsistent watering. I know that these beds have been pretty consistently watered, so I'm leaning towards it might be a lack of pollination. There are pollinators up here in the garden. I see them all the time, though I've not seen them specifically on the squash plants, so it's possible, especially since not all of the fruit seems to be affected and only some of it, that it just wasn't pollinated. So I'm going to go through these plants today, and I'm going to remove any of the ones that have gone bad, and I'm going to do some hand pollination of the ones that still look like they're okay. On squash plants, there are male and female flowers. The male blooms are just at the end of a regular stem, and they have a stamen in the middle, and the female flowers are at the end of a stem, but right underneath the flower on the stem you'll see a bulge, what looks like the beginnings of whatever kind of squash that plant is going to grow. If it's pollinated, it will continue to grow and the blossom part will fall off. If it doesn't get pollinated, then eventually that fruit will start to rot or die and potentially fall off. So in order to cover all my bases today, I'm going to remove any that are bad, and I'm going to hand pollinate any that look good. And I'm also going to water in a calcium supplement, I guess, just to make sure that they have some. Most of the types of calcium that you can buy for your garden, they take a while to break down, and so they're not immediately available for the plant to take up. I have actually amended with calcium in this bed 3 or 4 weeks ago. So what I'm going to do today is one of those quick tips that I found online that it may or may not work. You might laugh at me, but basically it's a dilution of milk in water, and I'm just going to water with it because it'll be more readily available for the plant to take up if that's what it needs right away. I'm pretty sure that over the longer term there is enough calcium in the soil for these plants. We'll see how it goes. I just, with the pandemic, I don't want to leave any more often than I really have to, and I don't have gypsum or lime, which would be my next best options for getting calcium into these plants quickly. This is what I have, and this is what I'm going to use today. Hopefully you can kind of see in there where this little squash there is starting to rot at the end. So that one is probably a lost cause. The bloom is kind of dried up and falling off on it. This little squash here looks newer and fresher, and the bloom still looks viable. So this is one that we're going to make sure that we try to pollinate today.
2 a.m. in the car playing our favorite song. Turn it up, windows down, we sing along. The summer night has just begun. The moon is bright, let's have some fun. Oh, this is everything with you right next to me. So alive, and tonight I'm thinking that I don't wanna go. Calling sick in the morning, baby, don't leave.
I've hand pollinated all the ones that I could get to. Looks like there's going to be more over the next few days that will probably be large enough to get into again, and this is going to be something I do ongoing. And I watered them with the diluted milk mixture, trimmed off any dead or dying leaves, anything that's not serving the plant anymore, and got them all cleaned up. So I think that's all that I need to do for them right now, and we'll have to see over the coming days and weeks how they do. Blessed be, friends. That's all I've got for you today. We'll see you on the next video.